when we were talking about something fun that we could do for the Yips for March and spring, we thought she would be the perfect addition to our learning for Lunch and Learn. So I'm going to introduce you to Hayley Woods with Simple Start KC, and she's going to take it from there. So thank you guys for coming, and thanks for being part of the Yips Chamber membership. We know that there's a lot of places you could be today, but you're here with us, so thank you.
Awesome.
All right, all yours.
All right, thank you. So I kind of wanted to start today just by getting to know you guys and what you do, because I do a lot of different things when I go to different places. Everybody has different needs. Everybody has different, hang-ups or characteristics about themselves that they need help with. So do you guys feel like you have more trouble being organized in your jobs, businesses, or at home, or both? Do they cross over on each other? What do you guys think? Home? Okay, majority home. Yeah, so I found for most people that is the issue. A lot of us can be organized in our jobs because we have to be, we're paid to be, we have accountability in our jobs, and so especially if we're really busy, then home is kind of what takes the back seat to that. So when I work with clients, there's things that we identify immediately that are causing issues in their homes or their businesses, whatever, and we call those the inhibitors. So we don't want these things to inhibit us from being able to be productive, to come home to a stress-free environment, to be able to not waste resources or time. So when you guys think about your home, what stresses you the most about your homes?
Husband and children.
I don't have a category for those. Toys and clothes, like you said. What else? How many of you have kids? Okay, all right. So yeah.
I don't have a junk drawer. I have a junk counter.
Okay.
And it's just overwhelming.
Okay. Okay, so that's a good one to come back to. Who else has counter space issues? Anybody? Okay. What else? When you just think about your home, when you step into your home, what stresses you the most?
My car, I know it's not really my home, but it's
Okay.
my home.
Okay.
It's always a disaster.
You don't even have kids yet.
Yeah.
Just wait, Bree.
I live out of my car, not really, but I'm always in my car
Sure.
doing my job, and my parents live 20 minutes away, so I always have to pack extra clothes because maybe they'll want to go on a walk, and then it's all kinds of stuff in my car.
I love that. Maybe they'll want to go on a walk. What were you going to say?
My art table.
Okay. So creativity space.
Well, once I get into something, it's like everywhere, I'm all spread out, and then I get into something else and it spreads out even more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everywhere.
Yep. Anybody else? Specific spaces? Do you guys struggle to part with things?
Yes.
Yeah.
How many of you feel like you struggle to part with things? Okay. How many of you feel like you can purge pretty easily? Okay. All right. Well, we're about half and half.
Yeah, there you go. Matt made a good point. He's married, so he doesn't get to purge.
Oh, you just have to wait till she's not home. Don't tell her I said that. Wait till she's not home. Yeah.
It depends on whether it has sentimental value or not.
Okay, that's a big one. That's something that, that's a whole nother category in its own. But sometimes you can have so many sentimental things that they're also taking over.
That many, so I'm not
Okay.
getting rid of them.
Okay. Okay. No, that's a good point.
Children's art.
Oh.
I'm just they made this when they were 4, and I'm my husband's scrap books. No.
Yeah.
Scrapbook.
Okay, I actually have a really good one for that, because I had to do, it's a plastic file box, and the hanging files, and each year, I put kindergarten, preschool, kindergarten, first, second, third, all the way up, he'll probably be there forever. But, and you put it in each of the years as it was, and then it goes up in their closet, and I just pull it down every once in a while, and I don't know, it's worked for me.
Yeah, that's good. I'll tell you what I specifically do is I always have a tub. My kids are getting older now, so not much comes home anymore. But I had a tub that was easy access that everything goes into so that they see me, keeping everything when they bring it home. And then once a year, we sit down together and we look at everything and we decide which things we want to keep together. And by that time, by 6 months, a year later, they're fine parting with that thing that they made in art class back then. But you can keep like 5 or 6 things maybe from the year and store that, and then all the rest of it goes. So you can make them part of the process. That's what always worked for me. So good one to touch on. Anything else specific?
Piles of clothes.
Piles of clothes.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you feel like you just don't have enough space to put them in, or it's the organization? Okay.
Oh, plenty of space, plenty of spots. I just don't hang them up.
Okay.
My husband folds it all. Folds it all. It sits there on my ottoman for life.
Okay. Now, is that a time issue?
What?
Is that a time issue because you're so busy with everything else that?
Yeah, but instead I just go to Cargo Largo and find new things.
Right. Right.
I'm telling you, it's bad.
Okay.
Because I got one everything there already, so if I haven't been there yet, I gotta go.
Okay. These are all really good things. What else? Just throw your ideas out at me.
50 cents.
Problem, I feel like my space really represents my headspace.
Okay.
So I see cluttered things. I cannot focus.
Uh-huh.
So I have a little bit of that OCD that
Yeah.
I want things in certain places, but I don't want that to transfer to other people
Sure.
that I'm living with, or I don't want them to be stressed out because I'm so particular.
Mm-hmm.
So I have the opposite problem, like I want things in a certain way, but I want to detach myself, so I'm okay with messy spaces.
Yep.
I'm like you.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to learn how to do that.
Yep. So that's kind of a double-edged sword. So it depends on what your goals are. I would say I'm definitely the same way. My family really has to try to learn to fall in line, or it causes more stress in our house, right? And so there's got to be a middle ground. But then also when you're coming at it from another side, if you are worried about your business or something that people are going to be seeing, that stuff is really important because you don't want, somebody else to come in that feels stressed by chaos, and for you to stress other people, you've got to create a good environment for other people. And that, to be honest with you, that is the reality. Like the stuff around you, if it is in chaos for a significant portion of people, that is really related to your mental health. So there are people who can function in chaos. If that is what you are looking to be able to do, I cannot help you with that. I have nothing. We'll have to call somebody in next month who can teach us to work in chaos, because I'm always trying to create the systems to make it work. So that brings me to right into my next question, which is perfect. How many of you live with somebody who is not organized and it doesn't matter to them if you are really organized? Yeah. How about another adult? Because I feel like most kids. Yeah?
My sister-in-law,
Okay.
she'll drink a soda and then just leave it there.
Yeah. I hope your sister-in-law doesn't watch this video.
It's just all in the yard, all over the place.
Okay.
And I'm so constantly picking up after her.
Yeah. Yep.
Have you tried to not pick up after her and see?
No.
Go back and pick it up.
It's the other way around, I live with her.
Oh, yeah.
She does a great job of living in her car, you should try that.
Yeah.
Look, you guys don't even need me. You're just problem solving all on your own. You're doing great. Okay, so how does that play out in your relationships when you live with somebody who is not organized and you want to be organized, or you are the unorganized person and you live with somebody who wants to be organized?
I just suck it up.
Okay. Okay.
I mean,
What'd you say?
I just started throwing my husband's stuff away. Eventually started putting it away.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't that cost you money though? I'd be like, well.
I'm not buying any shorts. Laundry where they belong, they go in the garbage.
Oh my goodness.
All right, so is there anybody in here who does thrive in chaos and doesn't feel like they need extreme organization? That's awesome. Okay, good. I got a maybe over here. Okay, appreciate your honesty.
I'm a bit outside, out of mind person, so
Okay.
I ignore it.
Okay,
But I
I am mentally more happy when I am organized.
Okay. Okay. I think for a lot of people, especially a lot of clients that I work with, the out of sight, out of mind thing is where most of the problem starts, because it's easier to just put it away, and then before you know it, everything piles up on you. So, so if you are organized and you can better utilize your time and your resources, it reduces stress. First of all, that's proven. It builds confidence in you. It increases productivity. You have the ability to better utilize your money. It improves your health. Like we said, it comes back to stress. You have more time and more energy, you know, to take care of yourself, to eat healthier, to worry about things that are more important in your life than your stuff. And it improves relationships. So organized people are typically on time more, they're less stressed more, they have increased productivity, and they make more money. So we are in good company here, right? Those are all important things. So unorganized people typically waste more resources, waste more time. If for businesses, unorganized businesses obviously lose clients. And then you lose respect and confidence from people if your spaces are not organized. So that's kind of what I want you guys to be thinking about today is what does it come back to at the very base of the problem when you really think about what is the biggest thing that bothers me in my home, my business, whatever. I want you guys to be able to have some time today to think through that and make some productive steps toward that. So I like that most of us said that our homes are our places, because that's where I like to spend most of my time getting my space nice and organized and complete versus the business side of it and stuff. So do you guys have any sort of system at home for if you have extra items or back stock that I like to call it, or do you guys just keep everything in one place? What kind of systems do you guys already have in place at home? Any thoughts?
The only thing we really do is like clothes and toys. So ever since I was a kid, my mom's always given all of her stuff to a women's shelter in Leavenworth. So we donate that like probably 2 to 3 times a year.
Awesome.
I just give it to my mom and she still takes it to this day.
Okay, perfect. I love that you do that several times a year too. Anybody else have any systems they're already using? Yep, go ahead.
I haven't won something for over a year. Donate.
Huge, yes. Yep. Yep.
Every spring cleaning.
Okay. Okay.
Home stuff I don't use, I take to Habitat to your store.
Perfect.
And they will, with a truck, will come pick up your stuff.
Even if it's a lot.
Couches and what?
I said even if it's a lot. They came to my shop and picked up like all sorts of doors, ovens, refrigerators,
Awesome.
leftover construction stuff. So they're helpful.
Yep.
Very, because not a lot of places will come and pick stuff up anymore. So.
Yeah.
That's my problem, like, it will sit in the trunk of my car, and
Uh.
I just drive it around, like.
And you drive past
Right.
like the places 30 times,
Right.
and it's just like,
Yep.
why is this still in the back of my car?
Yep, that is true. Anybody else have anything?
There's a new consignment shop up on the square too. You can take clothes if you like needed
Okay.
some money for it.
Okay.
Just thought, Habitat doesn't take clothes.
Yeah. Anybody else? Anything that you already
I
find
would
helpful?
say The question was what again?
Like, do you already have any systems in place that you use that you find helpful? Mhm.
Yes, shopping habit, only buy assets, not liabilities.
I like that. Okay.
So, I don't know, but I like shopping,
Mm-hmm.
but I recently started asking myself, do I need it?
Mhm.
Yes, I want it.
Mhm.
Of course I want it, but do I actually need it?
Mm-hmm.
And if I have 3 reasons why I need it, then the answer is yes. But if
3
I have
reasons.
Okay. If I have no reason, if I have no reasons to need it and I only just want it, then
Okay. Okay, that's good. That's good. I like that. These are all good things. So really what I find with most of my clients, what it comes down to is the ability to get rid of stuff. So I appreciate that most of us in here are able to get rid of things. So generally I have a rule that if you haven't used it in a year, clothing and other stuff too. I mean, there's the unique things that are for special occasions that wouldn't fall into that category. But if you haven't used it in over a year, it's okay to get rid of it. If there are things that just don't bring you joy, have you guys ever seen the Sparking Joy with Marie Kondo? She takes it a little bit further than I do, but we all have those things in our house that they don't really have great like memories attached to them. It might be like an outfit that you bought that you've never liked it, it's never fit you right, but you always think, oh, I gotta wear it because I bought it and I spent this money on it. But then every time you see it, it makes you sad, right? Because you don't like it and you wasted your money on it. Get rid of it, okay? Anything that you can do in your house like that if you do not need it and it is taking up space, do not let your things run your life. Do not let your things own you is what it comes down to. I think that's easier for our generation, definitely. I'm putting myself in your guys' generation, even though I think I'm a little older than you. But older people, they, depending on what you've lived through, they cling to things a lot tighter. So I can definitely see a difference there in the ages of clients that I'm working with on what they're willing to part with and what they're not. So I would say that is a pro to our generation. Kitchens are one of the biggest places that I feel like we waste time, we waste space, the gadgets that we think that we need. I've come across the craziest stuff in kitchens that just make jobs harder, to be honest with you, like just things that are supposed to help you, but they don't. So I love that, what you said about really thinking about your purchases. Do I really need this? I don't know, 3 reasons can be hard. And if I really wanted something, I could probably come up with some lame reasons, but yeah. Do you guys feel like you have stuff that runs your life? Like, do you feel like you have stuff in your house that causes you stress that you should part with?
My phone.
Your phone, yes. That is so true. I wish that wasn't true.
Plastic to-go things.
Oh my goodness, Angie, no. Okay.
It's like socks too. It's the old.
Yep.
Maybe that's been my next way, because I have bowls.
That's good. Yeah, that's one of my specific ones that I always have on my list. Tupperware is always a hang up for people. So I have a rule in cabinets, if your Tupperware does not go in the cabinet unless it already has the lid on it. So you have to know that the lid is there and accounted for. And if you have stuff that is missing lids, if you have Tupperware that's mismatched, throw it away. It is not, unless you are just going through really tough times and you cannot afford new Tupperware, that is a perfect way to de-stress a little bit. If you can have stuff that matches, that's going to save you time. If you're not searching for lids, if you're not searching for everything is nice and neat and visual. So having things visual is also a huge thing that I talk about with clients, because if you don't see it, you don't remember that you have it, you don't utilize it. So I love clear containers for everything. If you do have stuff that you need to storage, always clear containers so that you can see what is in there. If you don't see it, you'll forget that you have it, or you'll go out and you'll buy another one because you think that, maybe you gave it away or whatever. And so that goes for big storage items, and then also in the kitchen, refrigerator, anytime that you can visually see things, it's going to help you remember what you have. Color coding and color order is also a huge one. Do you guys feel like you are visual learners? Typically organized people are visual learners. I think like 63% of the population is visual learners. So when it comes to closets and wardrobe, if you can line everything up in color, if you have the time to do that, you're always going to be able to find exactly what you're looking for much faster, and you're less likely to forget about things that you have. Color order, I color code everything. Do you guys color code your planners, and how many of you do that? No? I've got a couple of color coders. You have to be able to stick with that. Like, it's a commitment. But if you are a visual learner, that's extremely helpful to have colors assigned to different things. This is kind of more for the ladies, but it's good to have outfits that you like. Take a picture of it, throw it in notes on your phone. It's so easy. We can have gobs and gobs and gobs of clothes, but you can feel like I have nothing to wear. Like, I don't know what to wear, as crazy as that seems. And so if you can you're like, oh, I like this outfit. Take a picture of it, throw the notes on your phone. Before you know it, you've got 20 outfits, and you can just pull up your phone and say, oh, I like that outfit. I'm going to throw that one on. That's a good one that people can refer to. If it's too small, as far as clothes, if it's too small, donate it. Everybody thinks, oh, I'm going to fit back into that outfit. Let me tell you something, probably not. And if you do, you don't want to wear it. Right, thank you, Angie. If you can fit into that outfit again, you're gonna feel great and you're gonna go want to buy all new outfits. So purge, purge, purge is really what it comes down to. And if you don't love it, if you don't absolutely love it and it doesn't bring you joy, just go ahead and donate it. For kitchens and planning for meals for your families and stuff, one thing I always recommend is once a month go through your cabinets, see what you have, plan all of your meals off of what you already have, and try to stick to that once a month so that you're able to start clearing some of that stuff out. That keeps you from wasting expired stuff. It keeps your budget down, and a lot of times we'll do a little challenge, like kind of see how far we can make it without having to go to the grocery store. My husband always thinks that game is a lot funner than I do, but it works. Sometimes we get rid of stuff. Organize all of your stuff by category in your pantries, by main dishes, sides, snacks, so that you know exactly what you have. Again, the Tupperware was another one that we have on there. What do you guys feel like you waste most as far as food? Very specific. Condiments, okay, that's a good one. Produce.
Yeah, especially the fresh produce and
Yep.
bread.
Bread, okay. Bread does go bad. Yep. So I love, Amazon sells clear containers that are stackable. They don't have lids on them. They're just rectangular containers. And so when I go to the grocery store each week, I go ahead and cut up all the produce. Like I always get a pineapple, or if I have strawberries, I go ahead and clean the strawberries, raspberries, everything, put those in those stackable containers where they're very visual so everybody can see them. They're much more likely to grab fruit and vegetables from the fridge if they can see them, and they're really easy to access. And we waste so much less produce that way. Especially we shop at Aldi, so you kind of got to eat Aldi produce fast sometimes. So those are extremely helpful. They come in different sizes so that you can fit. You want me to answer this honestly? I think in mine right now is Quirks. I'm pretty sure that's my produce. Beer? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
It's supposed to be the crisper keeps it real cold.
Yeah. Yeah, produce stores really aren't practical. You know, they're supposed to keep the produce fresh, and some of them even have the little things on like that. If we stick stuff in our produce drawer, it will absolutely be forgotten. Whatever you find in there will be disgusting.
You call it the rotter?
I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that's fair. Anything else that you really feel like you waste? It's really easy to end up buying the same stuff at the grocery store that you already have if you can't see it. And so that's another thing, is every once in a while before you go to the grocery store, do a good inventory of what you already have. I won't call anybody out in this room whose house I was at, but the certain person in this room had like 6 jars of cookie butter from Trader Joe's in her cabinet. She was like, dang, I have another one of those. But it's
Like,
so
it was
easy.
bad. Every time you go to Trader Joe's, you're like, well, there's not one around here, so I need to get the cookie butter, and then I guess you never ate it.
It can always be worse. There was one time in like 2010, I ate some powdered sugar that expired in 1992. I didn't know that.
Now, my grandma says expiration dates don't count. I'm sure to get you to buy more food.
Right.
I know just the fact that I had 6 open cookie butters.
You know, that's another thing our generation is better at, is reading expiration dates. I feel like that's another thing that I struggle with older clients. Like, are you sure that's bad? Like, let's not risk it, right? Like, let's just be better about our shopping so that we don't end up with these expired things. Okay, anything else? Any other spaces in your house that you feel like just really bring you stress? Yep. Okay, good one. Good one. Do you feel like you have more than you need in your linen closet?
Wow.
What do you keep in there?
Okay, so I keep extra toilet paper in there,
Okay,
extra toiletries,
okay,
towels, bedding, and miscellaneous.
Okay.
And miscellaneous.
Miscellaneous. If it's all together, it's okay, miscellaneous. So when I have clients that we work on closets like that, we try to stick to a rule of 2 sets of sheets for each bed, whatever it is. It's very, very rare that you need more than 2 sets of sheets. You wash one, you put the new one on. A lot of people will end up with 10 sets of sheets by the time, and there's no need. Towels, what we do at our house is everybody has a color-coded towel. So like my daughter is purple, my son is blue, I'm gray, my husband's black. Everybody's towels are their own towels, so they get washed every couple of days, and then everybody's towels go back to themselves. We have extra beach towels that we store in other places, but towels are one of those things that like multiply. I'm like, where did these towels come from? So another good thing, if you don't want to keep them somewhere else in the house, you can if you need them for cleaning up messes or things like that. But as for, we have a set of towels that is just for like bathroom, like guest towels and stuff like that. But color-coded towels is extremely helpful in our house. Other than that, the toilet paper, stuff like that, yeah, it's good to have that stuff, a designated place for that on back stock so that you know when you're running low on it. Yeah. Any other house spaces? I thought somebody else. Basement. Yep. Basement is a huge one.
And holiday organization.
So every single year when I pull out my Christmas stuff or Easter stuff or whatever, I lay everything out and inventory it and typically try to get rid of some stuff because I'm a person that I go to Hobby Lobby and they're just giving it away, right? Like after Christmas, like they're just giving all the stuff away. And so you got to get all the new stuff. So if it's not sentimental, don't keep it. You don't need 17 boxes of Easter decorations, donate it. The Habitat, the thrift store, somebody will come in and somebody else with a hoarding problem can come in and snatch that up. It's not your problem. Right. Don't go buy more stuff like that. Yeah. Basements, that's another one. Typically we shove into the basement because we don't need it anymore. We don't need it anymore. It's okay to say goodbye to most of the stuff in basements. I would say when I organize basements, it's rare that we leave with less than 2 or 3 carloads of stuff that people just don't need and you forget about it. So if you can get really good about reminding yourself that if I don't need this so much that I'm shoving it in the basement, I don't need it in my house at all. And then the clear tubs. Clear tubs are huge. So what else? Any other spaces? Garage. Yes, I always feel like garages are tricky because they're at least at our house, they're a constant place where people get out of the car, they set stuff down, things don't get put back that it might be the can of gas or, the weed eater or whatever. It's just an easy place to set stuff. We try to once a month, just all of a sudden when we come home, that's when you really see it, right? When we pull into our garage, we're like, oh, all this stuff is here again. And so we try to do a quick 20-minute blitz, once a month when we come in and just kind of call it okay, guys, really quick, we're gonna go through, we're gonna get everything put back to the actual places that it goes, not where we set it when we were in a hurry, and try to catch back up. Yeah. As far as organization, ongoing organization for garages, that's a big chunk of what I do with clients. Garages are just hard because there's just so much stuff that doesn't really have a good place anywhere else in the house, and there's lots of good systems out there like the track systems and stuff and they're expensive. That's the other thing, they're expensive, but that you can get everything lined up. But a garage is another place where keep it visual. Anything that you can get on the walls or that you can see, you'll remember where it is and you'll remember to utilize it. Yeah. Yep.
The garden shed.
Garden shed. Okay, how many of you guys have a shed? Blessed people, right? Blessed people have sheds. Yeah, that's another one each spring, and we're about to do it here soon because we'll start pulling all that stuff. We pile everything into the shed at the end of winter so that it's out of the yard and not torn up in the winter. And then once spring comes, we pull every single thing out of the shed one day, pull it all completely out, get a visual on all of it, sweep it out and everything. And that's another place that you can probably get rid of more than you think you could get rid of. But it's always, every single project that I do starts with pulling everything out, and that gives a lot of people anxiety. But it's really the only way to do it. Every single thing has to come out of every space.
It's where the empty pots for the plants go
Yes. So this would be a place you and I have a very have that much have very much in common. I had to reach a point in my life where I had to say, I am not a plant person. Like every single time I would buy one, I would think, this time I'm going to keep it alive. I do not. And I need to accept that about myself.
Well, my sister-in-law is very much a plant person.
Mhm.
She's all about gardening and all of that. But she literally has probably about 5,000 empty pots.
Mhm.
And not all of them are the same size, and they don't all stack in and whatnot. And she's like, oh, this year I'm gonna do all these bulbs and da-da-da-da, and then,
Uh-huh.
so yeah, it's a problem.
Yep. Yep. You really, that's another big part of keeping organizing is being honest with yourself about your strengths and weaknesses. Because I feel like I've tried to grow a garden for probably 15 years. It never works. I'm not the kind of person that is committed to being able to take care of a garden like I should. And I always think one day when my kids are older, or one day, it's not me. Like I just need to own it.
No, she's very into the gardening.
Mm-hmm.
But she would always plant bulbs that she would have to dig up again and all that. And eventually I said to her, why don't you start planting bulbs that you don't have to dig up?
Yeah.
Just leave them so they can do their thing.
Yep.
And, slowly but surely we've been doing that. And of course now it's coming into spring, so, I gotta plant my flower seeds.
Mm-hmm.
So which means the whole garage is gonna get taken over by trays and trays and trays.
Yep.
And trays.
Yep.
And lights. Yeah, well, it's crazy.
Yep. That's a tough one. That's a tough one to live with somebody like that. That's clearly her hobby, so don't want to steal that from her.
Passion. It's mostly her hobby.
That's fair.
What are your thoughts on toys and kids stuff like that we all were talking about that's taking over our life?
There's been a couple of times that I've done it two different ways with my kids. I've done those like mad dashes when the kids are not home and just get rid of trash bags of stuff and hope that they never notice. That has backfired on me at times. I think it is. Yeah, it
They have
seems.
no idea where their shoes are. But
Right.
They know exactly where
Right.
their toy is from when they were wanted to have.
Right, that they haven't played with in 2 years. Hmm. Yeah, so I think in situations like that, it's best to involve them, like really set everything out, think about, okay, what do you really play with? And then say, okay, let's try to keep 5 things from this pile. Let's try to keep 5 things from this pile. And if you can initiate some sort of reward or something, like if we can pack up so much stuff and take it to the thrift store or whatever, like we'll grab some ice cream while we're out, whatever, just put something to it and involve them in it. Yeah, because I have a feisty little one that I got called to the carpet a few times on getting rid of some things. The littlest pet shop tree, that one was still like traumatic for me. That didn't go well, yeah.
I try to do that at Christmas time with my boys,
Mhm.
and I'm like, there's kiddos that don't have anything, and we can donate these,
Yep.
and, just make it a positive for everybody.
Yep. We generally have a rule if the kids want to buy something, and they're, like I said, my kids are getting older, so this isn't as big of a deal now, but if they want to buy something, I want them to be consciously thinking about what's one thing I can get rid of. And if we can develop those habits in our kids when they're little so that their things don't start to overtake them. So much of being organized and staying on top of things goes back to whatever you experienced in your childhood. So much of hoarding and stuff goes back to trauma that people have experienced. So that aspect of it is a completely different beast to tackle, but being aware of those things is helpful too. Yeah.
Do you have any insights regarding like cloud space? You mentioned about taking pictures.
Mhm.
And a lot of people use Google Photos. I pay $100 a year to have the storage, and I have
Gotcha.
albums and folders. So I
Yeah.
don't need-
So what's your ultimate goal to do with those pictures when you want to save them and you want to store them? Like long term, what's your goal for them?
Simple, like receipts,
Uh-huh.
things like that. I don't want to keep physical copies, so I always take pictures.
Okay.
Try utilizing apps, and sometimes the sentimental, like artwork,
Mhm.
kids art, I don't have kids, but we have something like that, we take a picture and throw them away.
Mhm.
So then after certain years, like, do we really need to keep the pictures?
Right. Right. Yeah, I'm one for never buying additional storage. Like, I feel like if I need additional storage, then I have some issues I need to deal with. So, things that you don't realize on your phone take up more space than you think is old text messages that you really don't need, especially if you have friends that send you, funny pictures or you're going back and forth. That takes up so much storage on your phone. I also use Google Photos. I am like super anal about getting stuff wiped out of my email. I never have unread text messages like that. Does that give anybody else anxiety? Like the little dot with the unread messages? Like, oh my gosh, that gets to me. Email space. What I do typically with my emails is whenever I try to never have more than 5, I know this probably sounds crazy to most people, but I try to never have more than 5 emails sitting in my inbox. So if it's something that is like 2 weeks out, I click on it, I hit schedule send, I send it to myself to arrive next, or, the day before in 2 weeks or whatever, and delete. And so in 2 weeks, that email will then pop up and I'll see, okay, I need to deal with this tomorrow, or I need to deal with this today. I have a million scheduled emails in my email, but that makes it easier to not miss something. Like the 5 things that are sitting in my inbox right now, I know are things that I need to handle today or this week, or I need to be reminded that I need to do. Does that make sense? Yep.
So one thing that I've done for to-do lists, sometimes they can be incredibly overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
And so do like a traffic light for your to-do list. Like your
that's good.
red only has max 3 things that you put on it. And those are things that are like, oh crap, we have to get it done right away.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a little bit bigger section that would hold maybe 6 to 8 different things of yellow. And then everything else really is in the green. And so scheduling an hour for those reds, whereas I only schedule like 15 to 20 minutes for those greens to get them checked off,
That's good.
really helps
Mm-hmm. I like that.
a lot.
I like that. Does it give anybody anxiety to delete emails like that? Is there anybody who has like millions of emails? Yeah, we got it. Okay,
I
we got it.
currently have 159,567 photos.
Okay. Okay. I feel like being a realtor, you get a bit of a pass on that.
Okay,
a little bit.
Except for she is too, and she has 27,000 on her. We just compared this.
That's a lot of photos. What'd you say?
Huh?
Can you check that on Google Photos?
Yeah, she documents every second of her life, doesn't she? Do you guys think it's valuable to print out pictures anymore, like for future generations? I was like, no? Yes?
One thing I just started this Christmas is going through all my pictures and starting an annual, because you can just have, instead of having like a photo album like we had when we were kids,
Mm-hmm.
you can just have it all printed in a book,
Mm-hmm.
and we're started doing that once a year.
That's a great idea. I've seen a lot of people utilize that. That's a great idea. I still just like every 6 months or so, I just click print and print all my photos. And sometimes I waste money and print screenshots that I took, to be honest with you. But it's easier just to do it, wipe it out, and then I just stick them in a box. Like, if we want to come through and look at them, we can. Because again, I know myself, that's something I learned about myself. I had great scrapbooking aspirations, and that's not going to happen. If I'm being honest, it's not going to happen. But I'll get them in a box, and I'll have them, and then they're kind of in order of through the years. But if you have time to scrapbook, then do it.
That's one of my thoughts. So I have 4 kids, this is 11, and sure I did scrapbook.
Mhm.
So it's fun, 'cause it's like, oh, I had her bracelet from the hospital.
Yep.
And we would go, that I was a single mom for a really long time, so if we did stuff together, I would grab, the movie ticket stubs and just things, and it's fun. It was fun to look back and like reminisce about those things, and
Mhm.
then I had my other kids, and it's like, oh, I'm hoarding all of the stuff, because that stuff will make it in a scrapbook someday.
No.
Because I have 4 kids, so it's like,
Right.
well, I really want to. It's like that does bring me joy, but then like the space where I would put that is currently messy. So it's like there's no space, there's no organization, but I still keep the things, like, and I have a 6-month-old, so it's like, oh, well, this will go in her scrapbook. No, it won't.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
it's fair to like part with. But then I also feel because being a single mom, I attach dollars to things. So it's like, oh gosh, I was really mindful about she needed this thing, so I was very cautious about not splurging. But in a little, and I love thrift stores. Like I donate. Part of me is like I have a hard time giving. It's like, oh well, I really had to debate about spending $20 on this thing. It's like I kind of want to recoup a little bit of it back. It's like I don't have time to post it on Marketplace or consignment sales.
Right.
So, but some of that stuff I do have in the basement because it's like well, I probably should try to get some money back for this. It hurts a little bit to just give it away, or maybe I can find a new mom because I spent or I know this is worth. So that's kind of I've got my hoarding of my scrapbook stuff, and then I have like my stuff of like it kind of hurts to just give it away.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know how to fix either of those things.
Yeah. So a couple of things on that. Typically with clients, when I'm working on stuff and they pull out the stuff and say, oh, I'm going to give that to so-and-so. It's like, okay, you're going to give it to so-and-so like today, or it's moving on. Like we typically have a pile that's going into the car, and you're going to go drive around for 3 hours and today, and you're going to give this person back their crock pot, and you're going to give this person this thing you've been trying to give them forever. Just drop it on their porch. But keep from getting those piles that grow again, like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. You know, if that is your verbiage, it's good to just be honest with yourself and probably say, I'm probably not going to, and that's okay. And once you get rid of it, you can kind of relieve yourself of that stress, of that burden on yourself, of being hard on yourself about the things that you're still not doing. And every time you see them, you remind yourself that you don't do them. And then as far as selling stuff, I think for some people that's great. And if money is tight and you need to bring in the income and you can, lock it down and do it, that's great. Like my personal philosophy is that when you give things away, it comes back tenfold. Like that's just a personality trait. Not everybody would agree with that. If you need to make the money, but it would just be like, do it. Sit down, do it, knock it out, decide if it's worth your time. So many times you get messages from people and they're fake messages, and you got to sort through all that, and then you got to go meet somebody and, sketchy people, and it's like, is all that stress worth it? Just kind of weigh all that out. Were you going to say something else?
Yeah, kind of on that. A lot of times I think of organization as a one-time thing, but if there's not behavior change behind it, then it's kind of you're going to end up in the same spot you were a year later.
Yep.
How do you deal with that part of the organization?
So for me at our house, like we just have really intentional conversations about the why we're doing things. With clients from the other side, it's really hard. Like sometimes there's just personality traits that you can't change. And so I just have to say with clients, like, you have to think about this, like, you pay somebody to come clean your house, it's going to get dirty again in 2 weeks, and they're going to come back. Now, hopefully I don't have to come back in 2 weeks, but don't be hard on yourself. Organization is not for everybody. Like, there are people who absolutely, positively, they can't do it. Their brains don't work that way. They're too overwhelmed, whatever. And so if that is that person, then we just have to say, you just have to acknowledge that you need help with organization, and this has to be a continuous process. As far as if you're trying to change behaviors in your home, just always remember the why behind what you're doing. When people have the why behind what they're doing, they're more likely to do it. I always remember a study once where super simple, it was an ice machine. They had set out a scoop and a sign that said, don't put the scoop back in the ice machine when you're done, put it on the top. Well, nobody did it. They kept putting it in there. They put up a sign later that said, please don't put the scoop back in the ice machine. The germs from your hand will get on the ice. Well, then everybody follows the rule because they know the why, right? And it has importance to them. So that's just super simple example, but that applies to so many things in our lives. If we can constantly reflect on why we do the things, why they're important to us, we're much more likely to create good habits. Anything else?
Which type of people do you prefer to work with? The people that people that need you every 3 months?
I mean, for job security, it's great if they can't keep it. Yeah, but it's really hard. Like that's one of the hardest parts of my job is sitting down with people and trying to gauge and assess them as people and what emotional trauma, what things that they've been through, what experiences they had have led to why they need my help to begin with. And sometimes that's really hard too. wade through. So sometimes I leave and I don't even feel like we accomplished much. Those are the hardest days for me, because if people won't part with things, there's nothing I can do. I can't just move your stuff. She did. She did. You got rid of a lot of stuff, didn't you? Yeah. But there are people who can't.
I went to Trader Joe's the other day and I didn't. I thought
Nice.
of this whole situation. I was like, I don't think I need more cookie butter.
Don't.
Even though I'm here.
You don't. Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing too, is we have a running list of things in the house that are the things that we know we need regularly. Like if it's laundry detergent, toilet paper, shampoo, dishwasher, detergent, whatever. We have a running list where it's easy to scan quickly. Is there anything that we're almost out of? Because that's another huge time waster, right? You go to the store and you buy all the things and then you get home and somebody's like, we're out of conditioner. Always happens. So having that master list of the things that you repeatedly need to buy and a good gauge on what back stock you already have. We have a spot in our bathroom that is just the back stock of all the deodorant, body wash, shampoo, conditioner that everybody knows. If we have extra of this, it goes right here so that we know that we have it. We're not buying things that we don't need to. Yeah. All right, anything else? We've hit our hour already. But
There's so much more to unpack.
anything else?
Can you tell us a little bit about your business and how you specifically help people, like what you do, what you schedule, what you charge?
Sure. Yeah, so I do anything basically in home or in the office that would help you to just be more productive. I do $25 an hour is to come out and work with you. Most jobs that I do don't take longer than 3 hours. Some jobs, they might take 4 or 5 hours, but to be honest with you, it's a lot harder than you think. It's hard to even push past 4 or 5 hours in a setting to be organizing. It's mentally and physically draining at times, and so I try to keep around 3 hours is a good, productive amount of time to work. I primarily do kitchens, pantries, closets, master bedrooms. That's just what most of my clients need. I have a recurring, you can have me come out once a month for 3.5 hours, and you get a little bit of a discounted rate if you want to be on a regular plan. And people sometimes work on the same spaces. Sometimes we work on different spaces every time that we go out. Sometimes it's people hire me to do spaces for other people, which I'm fine. That can get really tricky. I always appreciate people's hearts behind, I want to help this person get organized. That can get hairy. If I'm just being honest, those are not my favorite ones to do, because a person really has to want to make the changes and not be told by somebody else that they need to get organized, if that makes sense.
You must want to volunteer to get into it, not be forced into it.
Right. Yep. And it's a lot easier to get rid of things if, it was your idea. Yeah.
Can we just hire you to come in and then we will leave? We won't know what you have thrown away.
That's it. Yeah, if you're comfortable with that, yes, that would make my job so much easier, because most of the time with clients, it's going through things one by one by one. Keep or not keep or not keep, and having to say, are you sure you want to keep this? Think through this, Yeah, I would love to throw away people's things.
I love doing this stuff, but you're like, oh man, I wish a friend would come over and help you do this, because that's one of the great parts about Hayley. She's very personable and easygoing, and you can just chat with her while you're doing it. You don't even remember that I threw away 6 things of whatever. But it does help, and it helps me to think about it later too. To think how I can keep being in that sense, like Matt said, so it's good to be part of it, I think, because if not, then you just let someone come in and throw, yes, it's easier for you to just go into that, but I'm just saying, if you're wanting to work on it personally, I think it is a good thing to be part of it.
Yeah, and sometimes people just need to talk things out loud, why they're keeping this, and once they say it out loud to me, they realize that they don't need it. And I just always tell people, I'll never pressure you to get rid of things that you don't want to. I'll help you process it. I'm never going to pressure you to get rid of anything, but 90% of the job is just me sitting there with people, giving them permission to get rid of things and keeping them motivated for 3 hours, because you say, I'm going to do this at home. Well, you get distracted by a million other things. Well, trust me, if you're paying me to sit there with you, you're going to stay on task a little bit better. So, For some people, it's stuff that they could absolutely do. They just don't, they need some help and they need the motivation. For other people, it's stuff they just cannot do. Like they just can't process how to make things and their spaces work for them. So there's two categories.
Cleaning component involved, or is it strictly organization?
So I do organization. I have a friend who has a cleaning business that we usually partner, and I try to send jobs to her to do deep cleaning stuff, because sometimes, you know, like if it's a full-on hoard, God bless her, like I feel bad for what she has to come in and do after I've just thrown things in the dumpster. But she's really, really good at it, so, yeah.
Do you ever have clients that give you like a budget, or you give them a budget of like things that they could use to organize with, like organization cubes or whatever it may be?
Yep, so that's something we talk about up front when we schedule. Is I usually have people send me pictures of the spaces so I can have an idea of what they have and what their spaces look like. I ask them what their total budget is, because I really don't want to use people's entire budget on just me there. But also sometimes we buy things that we think will help us to store things or organize, but they're not actually helpful. They're just, you know, I go to tons of houses and throw away plastic containers and baskets that people had all these ideas for that they were going to store stuff in, but they're not practical. So then, you know, we can go through Target or Walmart or whatever and price things, and I can price that into the total. And then clients can either buy those themselves, or I can buy those items and then just include it in the price.
Do you ever refer your clients, I almost got patient, like, secondary service if they need, like, therapy?
You know, that's a great question.
Awesome.
I mean, I wish that I could. Like, I've done some. I did a hoard last summer that was just like the saddest thing, like the stuff that I was throwing away. I mean, there was just so much trauma within that family. Like, it was really sad. But I don't feel like I would love it if I could. I would love it if I, you know, had somebody specific that I could refer them to, maybe. But, you know, I feel like I could be offensive if I said, you need some help, you know. But yeah, right? Yeah, it's so much easier when you're just watching Hoarders and like the psychologist comes with you. Like if I just had somebody that came with me, that'd be great. But yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Hayley, for
course.
being here. We appreciate you.
Of course.